Topic number 3. What have we been playing lately? Colin, what you been playing lately?
Mostly Vita at this point. Ratchet took a lot of my time. We already discussed Ratchet pretty extensively, so we don't talk about that anymore. So the game I'm playing right now is Severed, although I can't talk about it. The game's embargoed actually for a long time. I don't think that we're even allowed to talk about it extensively until after PAX East.
That's where I'm at with Star Fox.
But
there's a lot of those games right now.
Yeah, but I'm comfortable saying, knowing Drinkbox and knowing the PR agency that's repping them, I think I'm comfortable saying that Severed is a game worth being excited about. I mean, that's my interpretation of it.
The way I keep interpreting it for people, right, is I played an hour of it last night, and the hour confirmed everything I've said at the PAXs I played it. Where I'm like, this is fun. I think I'd like to play this. I can't wait to play more of this. All of that's after playing an hour of it, I'm still like, okay, yeah, I want to play more. I want to do more with this.
It's a game that seems to become more cohesive the more you play it, and I'm pretty far in it now.
For those that don't know, what is
it's
Severed?
a Vita exclusive game from Drinkbox Studios. These guys do the Mutant Blobs game and Guacamelee. They've been working on this game for about 2 years, a little more than that. And it is a DRPG, and you don't see many of these anymore. So it's like a first-person role-playing game in a dungeon, so a first-person perspective. You just don't see a lot of dungeon-crawling RPGs like this. So a lot of them actually come out of Japan because they're very popular there, especially on Vita and on PC. But you don't see it's not a well-worn genre in the West anymore. It used to be. So think about like Shadowgate or something like that. So it's a game where it's all touch-based, and it's not all touch-based. You use the sticks to kind of go around these environments, and you're exploring in these interconnected environments. The art style is very similar to Guacamelee. One of my first questions was, is it in the same world as Guacamelee? Which I don't think it is. But you fight these enemies you can fight up to 4 of them, I think, at a time. You might be able to fight 5 of them, but I think 4 of them at a time.
I believe it's 4.
And the enemies appear on your, so an enemy can be behind you or to your side or your front. And each of them has like defensive postures and offensive postures, and you slash with your finger depending on where they're not guarding themselves. So like a spider enemy might be like having his hands up here, so you like slice him here, and then he goes down here and you slice him on his head.
So it's like Skyward Sword.
Yes, it's kind of like Skyward Sword. But not... Never mind. So there's these circle icons that represent all the enemies, and you can like press them to turn around and fight the next enemy, and these yellow gauges fill up to show like when they're going to attack. So you have to like face the enemy and either interrupt their attack or block their attack by slashing them in the opposite direction that they're slashing at you.
Parry.
Parrying, exactly. So there's a lot of the combat's actually super dynamic, and people who've played it at PAX and E3 and all that kind of stuff know that the combat is super dynamic.
And what's weird is like I don't like touch-based games. You know what I mean? And there's the occasional one that'll come through, and this is one that from all those PAX demos I've had where you played, I'm like, oh, okay. This is different. This is fun. It's making me think. It's making me move. It's not just like mindlessly doing that. Because if you mindlessly do that, then they block and you lose your, what do they call it?
There's like a multiplier that it grows, and then if you build this meter up, then you can actually slice their limbs off with your, like when they're dead, and collect their body parts to upgrade your character
Naturally.
As you do.
So you play as a female who has one arm. Her arm's been sliced off, and she's like looking for her family. We can't. I'm not going to talk too much more about it because I don't want to break the embargo. But yeah, it's a game worth keeping an eye on. The other game I'm playing that I think Greg has talked about in the past is Hitman Go, and it would be disingenuous of me not to give credit to Hitman Go as a touch-based. It was a cell phone game, and
it's a mobile game.
But of course, mobile games suck until they come to Vita, as the principle goes.
Until they get a trophies.
Nope. But it's the word I used to describe it is actually it's quite clever, and I. First of all, I couldn't imagine playing it on a touch screen. I mean, I'm playing it with the D-pad and like buttons and stuff, and it's I think I'm sure you could figure it out on a touch screen, but it's
simple.
But I like playing it. It seems very tactile to me. But I'm really enjoying it. It's hard and it's forgiving. Like you're not necessarily dying and losing anything, but figuring out how to do things to get all 3 medals or whatever on each stage as you go is cool. And I like the idea of it just being like a board game. It's like a metagame, basically. Like you're playing a digital board game and you're going around and trying to assassinate people, and it's cool. I like it a lot, and it occupied a lot of my time flying back from Austin to San Francisco when we were flying back last week. I haven't gone back to it since I've had Severed, and I also have Axiom Verge on Vita, so I'm gonna try to save that. That'll be out actually by the time I play it, which will be when we're going to PAX, but in Boston. So that's kind of what I've been spending my time with. In addition to, I haven't gone back to the Division. I'm kind of just desperate to get it over with at this point. It's not a reflection on the game. It's a reflection on how I want to spend my time. And otherwise, I'm waiting for, primarily for Alien Nation at this point, which is the Housemarque PS4 game that I should get very soon. So that's basically it.
I highly recommend you try Lara Croft Go.
I will when it comes to Vita.
It will eventually.
I
But
hope
it's
so.
worth playing on
Another
the phone because it's kind of easy. It's a little bit easier than Hitman Go, I think. But there's like a DLC package that I'm pretty sure is free if you get the game. That makes it a lot harder. Like there's a bunch of new levels that are way more challenging, and those are awesome. Like it really makes you feel like you're doing something good when you beat a level, and I like that. What about you, Greg?
So Quantum Break was the big one in terms of like all my time, but then I did other stuff. I hit level 30 in Division.
Congrats.
Thank you. Jeez, some supportive friends you are.
Enter the dark zone.
Enter the dark. Well, I was already doing some dark zones.
I don't know
Fucking
what any
around.
of this means.
But the dark zone's cool, and I ran around there, and I got my
Dark Zone's mean.
I got my Midas Uzi. See, I've had the opposite impression though. Like it could be mean. It hasn't been mean to me because there was a great moment where I was like, I'm gonna run around the dark zone by myself, and I ran in there, and some dudes popped up, and I was waiting for time frame or whatever the hell they were doing, and so I was in there by myself. Dudes popped up, I started shooting, and like, of course, the dark zone's deal is like, they're level 30 and they're all purples, and then there's like a team of bad guys, NPCs or whatever, or you know what I mean. And so they surrounded me, and then another guy had spawned into the dark zone, was running, and he stopped and helped me, and then we teamed up, and then we just ran around for like an hour. Collecting awesome weapons, extracting stuff. We kept randomly picking up other people, and nobody went rogue. Nobody in the entire group. We had no mics. Nobody was being a dick about it. I was like, that's fucking cool. That's what it's about. Then though, so I'd hit level 30, done the school stuff. I'm all in. This is fun. I'm having a great time. Then Saturday, stopped playing Quantum Break to jump on and play with Ty and Fran again. And Ty had been playing all day long, but he had been grinding one mission where he was just like trying to get Phoenix credits. So he was just replaying this mission over and over and over again to get Phoenix credits. And then we went and did one of the challenges or whatever. And it was totally like, we're in there and it's like, all right, you guys pop this on this thing and you do that. And like, this is how we're going to, all right, and like calling things out. And it was like very like, we used to run through these missions and have fun and talk to each other. And now it's very much about how to best this mission and how to get this. And I'm like, I'm not feeling this. And like, I did it once and they're like, all right, let's do it again. I'm like, I'm going to stop now. And for me, I was like, this is interesting if this is the death knell of the Division for me. You know what I mean? Of like, is this, because that was a huge blow of like, I don't want to do that, I don't think. And I don't know how to handle that. But then the next day, I tried to play a bunch of stuff and I did. And it was like, I have like 30 minutes to an hour before I have to go do whatever I'm about to go do. I want to play something. I guess I'm jumping back in the Division, and I went and then I popped out a few other trophies out because I'm close. I was looking here. I'm 67% on the trophy list, and it's like a lot of the main time sinks have been sunk. You know what I mean? Like even if I don't go for the platinum, I just need to collect a few more dog tags and a few more cell phones and a few more laptops for each one of those trophies to pop. And so I'm in this weird spot of like, they just dropped the incursion or whatever. Alfredo, of course, has been going crazy. But like Alfredo's putting up his character and his stats and what his loadout is, and it's just like mine is not that. And does that mean that I'm already to that point where I either have to get on the treadmill really fucking hard, the grind treadmill, the gear treadmill here, or can I just pop in and still have fun but not be as fucking godlike as he is? You know what I mean? And so I don't know where I'm gonna end up with the Division because I'd like to keep playing it. I do like when it was like, all right, cool. It is kind of that like, well, I can still go for it though. You know what I mean? Even though, but then if it's going to be the experience I had where it was like, all right, let's do the same thing and you pop your special on this and I'll pop my, no, not that. So that's been part of it. So then, that Enter the Gungeon. I jumped into Enter the Gungeon. I'd been waiting a long, long time since Nick and I saw that at that event. I think it was for a Gamescom thing here in San Francisco. Totally delivered on what I wanted. You Enter the Gungeon, randomly generated dungeons where you run around with awesome guns and shoot little bullet guys who shoot back, and you try to get better gear to beat the boss to get to the next level. And what's interesting is when I played it and I was there, I was like, oh, this is fun. It's like, it's basically like a twin stick shooter or whatever. Like I'm shooting my 360 degrees, I'm running around shooting everything. Great. This is fun. And then getting it home and playing it, I was like, oh, it's it's dungeon crawler, it's all different things. It's like Rogue Legacy, but then dying and starting again. Rogue Legacy, when you die, you kept your gold and you got to go buy something to make the next round easier or whatever. That's not happening here, with the exception of some credits I'm getting up here that I haven't found what to spend them on. Right? I'm still early, you know what I mean? So probably the first 2 hours of playing this game. Mm-hmm. But you die, you restart, and you just go again, and die and restart and go again, but without having to do anything. And I was like, oof. I like the way Rogue Legacy did it. I don't know if I'm going to hang out and play it, but lo and behold, I keep playing it. I keep wanting to play it in the dungeon. It
looks awesome. It looks
like
a really
it's fun.
Cool game.
It's clever. It's cute. It's funny. It's got everything going for it. The characters feel different. Like I was playing forever as the pilot because he looks like Nathan Drake, and then I was like, oh, now I'll try the Marine who looks like a Halo Spartan or whatever. he had a different gun set. He was different, and there's all these like there's two other characters that I haven't run with yet, and I want to jump in and play with them and get a feel for who I like and who's making the most sense for me as a player. But enjoying it. It's just Spelunky when I thought it was Rogue Legacy, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I'll ever be good enough to get to the bottom and do all these different things, but I'm enjoying it as a distraction. When I took a break from that, I played episode 2 of Michonne, The Walking Dead Michonne. Liked it a lot more than I liked episode 1. Episode 1, I was like, no, it was an experience. That was fine. This one was, you're making choices. They matter. There's action. It wasn't just like trying, like that episode 1. For a 3-episode series, I thought pacing would be hard. And I think that's what happened with episode 1, where episode 1 very much was like, we're going to start you into this thing. And it's like, well, you're burning clock. I already know who Michonne is. Why are you doing it like this? And this one was, okay, cool. Let's make choices. Let's kill things. Let's have action. Let's see what, let's make choices that matter, which is what Walking Dead's all about. Had a lot of fun with that. Severed, I've been playing Valkyria Chronicles. I also can't talk about that. I think that covers everything that I've been playing recently that I can speak to.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, this weekend was like 2 days, and it was like, 2 days here in San Francisco, which I hadn't had in 3 weeks, and I won't have for another 5 weeks. So all I did was sit there and not shave and play games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played more games in the last week than I have in a very, very long time. I played led a lot of Ratchet. I've played a lot of Star Fox. I'll talk about that next week. The one thing I do want to say about that game is, for everybody saying that you can turn off motion controls, you cannot. So many people have been giving me shit because I keep saying, no, they're not telling me if you can or can't. You cannot. There's an option where you can make it so that it's only when you're charging your laser that motion controls turn on, but that's the entire game. So that's fun.
So it's great.
I have good things to say about the game, and I have bad things, and one of those outweighs the other. We'll have to find out next week. But there are other surprises that happened this week that I'm pretty excited about. Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key is what it's called, but it looks like an X, but it's a key. I don't know. It's Square. They just name things in the most convenient ways possible. This is something that I've known was happening, and it's been out in Japan for a long time, but I didn't know that it was being ported over to America. I know that there was like a movie that's going to be in Kingdom Hearts 2.8, I think they're calling it. I'm lost in all this shit. It just reached the point I'm like, all right, whatever. When it happens, it happens. It happened. This game came out, free to play mobile game, and I'm like, Kingdom Hearts, free to play mobile. I'm sure I'll try it. Way deeper than I thought it would be. Way more fun, and you don't need to buy anything at all. You just keep playing. There's like it's a game. It's not some bullshit. There's story that is completely canon and completely relates to the whole thing. It relates to Kingdom Hearts 3. This is the first thing in the timeline of Kingdom Hearts. So it's the earliest we've ever seen. It deals with the pre-Keyblade War stuff. And there's naturally. There's actual Disney worlds in it and stuff. There's music that's Kingdom Hearts music. It's not weird, shitty, mobile songs and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like it's real. And I'm like, damn, I'm shocked at the production quality of the game. I played it for a couple hours, and the gameplay starts simple and it starts getting a bit more and more complex as you go on. The battle system, it's all touch based. You just kind of like point where you want to go, and then your little guy goes. There's groups of bad guys. If you hit a bad guy, they spawn a couple others around him. So it's like there's one bad guy that you touch, it turns into like 3. And as you're fighting them, it's like this like card based system where each character is a different color. There's red, blue, and green, and each bad guy is a different color too. And depending on your card, it's rock, paper, scissors type system where I think it's blue beats green, green beats red, red beats blue.
Sure.
And depending on the card, you want to attack that guy first and just kind of cycle through. And it is just quick and easy swipes, but it's perfect for a mobile game. It's perfect for all right, I'm just going to do 3 more stages and just kind of bang them out when you're like in line for something, right? But I like that there's a fair amount of actual story going on, and there is characters. Like you're talking to Aladdin, you're talking to Hercules, you're talking to like things where I'm like, fuck, like this, I would have never expected this from a mobile game. So very pleasantly surprised by that. Also on the mobile front, Miitomo. That was a thing that happened.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys play it at all?
No.
Use it at all? Play it's kind of a weird word to use with it, but I mean it's cool. Like remember when you first made an Avatar on Wii?
Yeah.
And it was like, this is cool. It's just kind of like the whole there's something about avatars that is just appealing. You know, creating yourself, answering questions, just kind of like, you know, tweaking the eyebrows and the clothes and stuff. Like there's something about that is just inherently likable. And I think the Miitomo it's a cool step in taking some of the most memorable parts of that and just expanding on it. Like there's something addicting about answering questions about yourself. You know, what's your favorite ice cream? What do you think about this? And all it is just like question. And then it's a point system based on how many questions you ask.
Wasn't there was a Wii channel that was all questions, right? Wasn't there the voting the polls? I remember doing that when the Wii first came out. I'm not making this up. You're all a bunch of psychos.
Maybe. We had a lot of things that they did for a while and it stopped. But this is interesting in that it seems like it's getting a lot of pickup. Like everyone on Twitter that we follow is using it. And I feel like the fall off for that hasn't been too crazy. Like people are still posting pictures of their like characters doing weird ass shit. I think Nintendo made some really smart calls in terms of creating a platform that people are going to use socially on other social networks. Because I'm seeing it on Instagram, on Twitter, on like all these different things. People are making vines with the stuff. I'm like, that's smart. Because now these me characters are everywhere.
Yeah.
Not enough to keep me going though. Like I was like, all right, I'm done answering questions. And it's a little more difficult than it needs to be to create a friends list in classic Nintendo
Oh wow, who would have
fashion.
thought?
I know. If that stuff wasn't true, like I feel like there's really something there. And again, this is one of those things where this isn't for everybody. This isn't for people looking for a game. This is not that. There's a couple mini games in it. They're not really fun. They're distractions at best. And I feel like if they were a little bit more fleshed out and if they weren't so hard to access, you need to like get a certain amount of points to be able to even play the mini games. And the mini games remind me a lot of when the DS first came out. Like when you played Mario 64, there was like a set of mini games it came with where it's like Mario's would be falling from the sky on the top screen and you have to like swipe to like bounce in different places. It's that type of stuff, which it's fun distractions. But now that we have mobile games, like that's what those are. So it feels incomplete for sure, but I'm happy that it's getting the type of pickup that it is because I think that's a good sign that if this was a feature in another game, it could be really cool.
Keep in mind, a lot of the pickup you're seeing though is just Mike Drucker tweeting 20 times a day about his
Mike
fucking
Drucker's
Miitomo.
And he is a perfect example of somebody that should be using Miitomo because his answers are so funny. So when Mike Drucker comes in and like his question and answer pops up, it's like, this is what this is for. It's for following the right people, not a fucking bunch of shitheads. You know, unfortunately, I got a bunch of shithead friends.
I've noticed.
Yeah. Sorry, Kevin. Anyway, I haven't opened it in like a week. So that's how
So you're
much fun it
Miitomo
was.
and there's probably starving to death.
Probably. And that's the thing. You don't do anything like that. It's not even a Tamagotchi. It's just answer questions. And then in terms of actual console games, we did the Final Fantasy 15 Uncovered event.
We did.
And at that event, we announced that
The Platinum
demo was going to be released tonight. And I didn't get to play it because we were there.
We were drinking our heads off.
Then when I got back, I finally got time to play it. Very short. I think I put 30 minutes into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great. It's not bad. It's unnecessary.
I hear it's pretty bad from some people. That's pretty bad.
I mean, it's very unnecessary. It's about, if it's 30 minutes, I'd say it's 25 minutes of just weird. It's a weird tech demo that shows off a bunch of the like weather effects and just like different game effects that don't affect the player at all. Like these are things that the player aren't going to be doing in the actual game. So I don't really understand the thought process behind it. At this point, we know the game looks good. Like we don't need to know that there's a day-night cycle and stuff like that. You start off as Noctis, and then you're asleep and you're dreaming. So you're in his dream. And the opening bits, it's cool because you're in this like canyon and you start to see a bunch of the summons, and the sense of scale is ridiculous. And I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. But then nothing really happens with that because it's a dream. Then you just move on to the next dream sequence, and you're like in a room, and it's very Kingdom Hearts-esque, like Alice in Wonderland, where you're tiny and everything.
Is that when you get the big hammer, the squeaky hammer?
Yeah, you have a squeaky hammer, and it's like it really misses the mark in a lot of ways. Where it's like, had they just made a demo more similar to Duskai or whatever the other one was, but just shorter. I think
Duskai.
Duskai. I think it's Duskai.
Duskai.
They corrected me when I said Duskai.
It's a made up word.
Yeah, it is. It was interesting to me that that they would make these calls, because like the squeaky hammer, like it's cute and weird, but like I guess that's the thing. It's a very Japanese game, and this is a very Japanese demo. It's very just kind of out there. You're in this weird little toy car and you're doing stuff. I'm like, why? What is happening? And it happens so fast that you then moved on to the final section. And the final section is a boss fight with this iron giant thing. And you turn into adult Noctis. And you'll do Carbuncle's helping you out. Carbuncle's the fucking homie. Name mine Portillo.
Thank you. See, that's the thing is like no matter how bad this demo is or how weird it is, I'm still gonna do it at some point because I want to make sure I have Carbuncle in my game.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, again, it's so fast. You can beat this thing. If you ran through it, I think you'd probably get it done in like 15 minutes.
Okay.
So then we get to the final part, which is the boss fight, and that's the thing that I wish that I could be like that part was awesome. So it's all fine. It's so awesome, but it's so easy. And the battle system is so dumbed down for the demo that I'm like, why'd you even do this? It's like, you might as well be watching a trailer. Like you can just hold circle and win. Like the battle system's weird and you don't even need to tap it. You can just hold it. Okay. And it's like an auto dodge and attack thing. I'm like, all right, cool. It's a spectacle to look at. It's really cool. And I'm like, man, can't wait to play the actual game. Like I can't wait till there's actually an enemy that is a challenge and we're built up and I have more, my magic spells have an actual use and stuff instead of just having fire that like you can use that to win or you can use your sword to win. But what is cool is, and this is optional, you don't need to do this. Before you beat the thing, you can go back and there's this, if you go to the other end of the level, there's like a little platform you step on that makes it respawns the giant. And then you can go to the building and like go all the way up the skyscraper and then warp strike down from like 100 stories up to attack him. And that's really cool. And it reminds me of the Final Fantasy Versus 13 trailer that came out millions of years ago when he like does that in the trailer, and being able to actually control it and do it is really cool. But then the trailer or the demo ends and Carbuncle's yours for the game. But
Carbuncle.
I was very shocked at how weird the demo is. It's like, man, this is what you're going to put for free in front of people that aren't interested in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Interesting call. I'm very excited about the game. Still, that event got me fucking stoked. And this was definitely, it left a sour taste in my mouth. I'm like, why? Like,
why'd you do this?
It would have been better if they just didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I'm interested to see what you have to say about the final game when it comes out. Like, I wonder if it even can win you over. I think it might.
I'm gonna play it. It's just, I'm curious if anyone's, I mean, not anyone, but I'm curious. I think this game doesn't look right. And that's all I'll say is that it just doesn't feel right to look like. Just, what is this game? Why are they in this car? Who are these
stuff
people?
I'm not worried about.
Oh, a lot of people are though, and I think that they have every right to be. I don't understand. This is a weird this game oozes weirdness, and I don't feel like Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy 12 and 6 and whatever, like games people like in different ways, like oozed a uniqueness, not a weirdness. And I think this game just looks strange to me, and I'm intrigued. I'm super intrigued. I'm super excited to play because I just want to see what it is. You know? I didn't think the demo was like the real demo. Do Sky was all that compelling to me. So it was. I don't know. We'll see. September 30th, apparently.
I think playing it, my biggest issue besides the demo being weird is the fact that the game looks like it's an action game, but it still is kind of a slower paced RPG thing. So it's kind of weird where the controls don't feel as natural as I want them to. I feel like a lot of the moves, it looks like it feels like God of War, and it's not.
Okay.
It's definitely way slower and clunkier to control. But I think that in the context of the actual game, that might make sense once I actually start to understand the pacing of it. But I think being given a 5-minute fight wasn't enough, and it makes it feel out of place and weird. But I'm very sold on it. I think it has a lot of potential to be at least good. And yeah, that's all I've been playing recently. Anything else? Are we missing anything else?
Carbuncled.
Carbuncle's the homie. Faux show. All right.